You know, bears have a very advanced sense of smell. It's so good that they can actually smell hell sweeps, and that's how they keep on beating Mishimas in tournaments. Hello everyone, I want to talk about Kuma today, and the reason I'm really interested in this character right now is I recently saw a tournament match between two of the best Tekken players in the world, Atif Butt and Arslan Ash. It was really fascinating. Atif Butt brought Leroy, which is a very orthodox but very strong character in this game. He has sort of standard tools, but they're just good because they have good frame data. And Arslan Ash brought Kuma, a very unorthodox character. I mean, weird. You know, it's a bear. It's not very popular. Strange character model. Spoilers, Arslan Ash won that game very convincingly. But it's the way in which he won that really caught my attention, because as I was watching the video, I realized that I don't think Arslan Ash sidestepped or sidewalked a single time in the entire match, which is very rare and unique. I mean, he might have and I just missed it, but he did it very rarely, if at all. And that was interesting to me because we've been talking about lately how Tekken seems to be moving away from a focus on sideways movement, and it's becoming more focused on specifically mix-ups. The latest sign of that we saw was the buff to the Mishima Hell Sweeps, where they track better, which makes movement weaker against them, and then that also empowers their mix-ups, you know? But if that's the case, I was thinking about how people used to say Kuma was a bad character because of his bad clunky character model that limits his sideways movement. But if you're the kind of player where you're not going to worry about sideways movement that much, your big weird model might actually be more of an advantage to you, because it's very difficult to combo, especially at the wall. It can make your opponent drop combos, it can make them nervous. Kuma also stands with his legs tucked way in underneath him, and that makes them very difficult to reach with lows. There are a bunch of good lows in this game that need a clean hit to have their good properties, and that's difficult to do against Kuma. It makes him very strong against Elisa, because she really can't reach those legs with her clean it down 3, for example. So I think if you're not going to use sideways movement anyway, then you don't suffer from being bad at it. And what you get instead is a difficult to combo character model, really good range, high damage, and just solid mix-ups overall. So I think this character might actually be much better than people suppose. It is, of course, a championship character. We shouldn't forget that this is the character that won the Tekken World Tour at one point. And remember, it was so hype when Rongchu brought Panda in that match and started beating up Deviljin. We were so excited. It's kind of the opposite of what happened the time after that when Chikarin picked Akuma. That really reminded me of, have you ever heard that Louis C.K. joke where he talks about getting a Cinnabon at the airport? It's like, oh god, I'm picking Akuma. Yeah, with the hot cum. Kind of disgusted, you know, with himself. But yeah, let's talk about some of the cool moves I found messing around with this character today. I think it might be a solid choice if you're the kind of player where you don't want to worry that much about sideways movement, but you like big damage and mix-ups. First of all, I think the punishment is very solid. I like this jab string. This is your 10 frame. It's not 1-2, it's 2-1. The best thing about it being that it's actually high mid, and that's so very good because it's you know, a safety thing. It also makes up for the fact that Kuma doesn't really have good fast steady uppy sort of mid pokes like a standard down forward one. It's something that is common across all the big body characters like Gigas and Jack. You don't really get those steady uppy mids. But the fact that you have a mid attached to your jab string sort of mitigates that a little bit. You do have fish hook for 12 frames. This is +7 on hit, which is actually very good, but -4 on block, and it has very bad range. So I think this is mainly an interruption tool. But the jab string is solid. I think the only thing that annoys me about it is the fact that if you do it at a certain range, like about here, you can see that the first hit is going to cause a bit of pushback and cause the second hit of the string to whiff. And that is very poor quality of life. I bet that is very annoying if you are a Kuma player. And it's something that I think that they should probably fix. But apart from that, it's very solid for a general purpose poke string, something that I think they should do a lot. And a solid little punisher for 21 damage. For 12, you have an amazing move. Your 12 frame is fantastic. Look at this thing. Look at the range. This is down back 1-2. This is really, really powerful. It does 34 damage from a really spaced out range, and it smashes your opponent into full crouch and gives you +5 on hit, which is just perfect for setups for like throws and mix-ups. It's extremely good, even for a quick whiff punisher. Honestly, after a sidestep, I can see this move being amazing. I don't see that many Kuma players use it, but then again, I don't see that many Kuma players, so maybe that's why. I think you actually don't mind the fact that you don't get the knockdown here, because you get such a good setup for other things. And if you are punishing hop kicks, which is like the main move category that you hunt with like 12 and 13 frame block punishment, your 13 frame, which you're going to be able to get in the vast majority of cases, is a knockdown move that does wall splat. So if you are punishing hop kicks anywhere near the wall and you want to get that splat, you do have that option. So I think it's really great. So there are basically no downsides to the down back 2-1. I think it's absolutely fantastic. What a great punisher for this character. And this thing is good as well. It's a spin move, but you don't really use it for combos as far as I know. And then when we get to the 15, you have one of the best standard whiff punishing launchers in the entire game. I mean, look at the range of this thing. This is insane. I mean, every time I like do this move, I think it's going to whiff and it doesn't. It's got massive range. It's so good for whiff punishment. It really reminds me of the down 4-2-3 for Eliza and down 4-2-1 from Miguel. But it's got like all the properties that those moves lack. It's got the range where it actually works on pushback moves consistently, and it's 15 as opposed to 16, which just makes it extremely solid. So you're going to be able to whiff punish with this and get big combos all the time. Very, very good. For the while standing stuff, you have a while standing 4 that is above average, 20 damage. That's cool. The 13 frame is good. While standing 1-1, 34 damage. Again, huge. And you have a cool option here where you can do while standing 1-2. And he has a built-in delay into this heavy mid that gives you another +5 on block. And you can use that for setups as well. So really cool little option here. I like it. And then for 15 from while standing, you have just a very standard while standing 2, 15 for a launcher. So, I mean, it's weird because you would assume that this bear character is like super unorthodox in terms of his moves and frame data, but when you look at least the punishment, it's actually very typical Tekken stuff, except that you take everything and just make it a little bit better. Extremely solid stuff overall. So yeah, easy to use, easy to apply. Let's talk about some of the other extremely good moves with this character. I think you have one of the better low pokes in the game. Massive range and crush properties. This is down back 2. It's +1 on hit, unless you press 3+4 and access hunting. Hunting is your mix-up stance with this character, and a very good stance. But if you transition off of the low poke here, you're actually -3. So it's a plastic mix-up. The only way you get the mix-up is if the opponent hesitates. But I think that can be effective. For the most part, just do the low by itself. It's so good. Really a good harassment tool. It kind of reminds me of the back 1+2 from Zafina, honestly. Very good. I also think you have pretty much one of the best power crushes in the entire game. This thing is insanely good. People talk a lot about Bob's power crush, but this is just better in my opinion. The range is massive. You can use it to hunt people on the ground. There are situations where you can set it up to be guaranteed. You can see it smashes the opponent into the ground, but it actually does wall splat and everything at the wall as well. It's just an extremely good tool for like any situation when the opponent's going to swing. I think this is an amazing, amazing armor move. So very good. I want to talk a little bit about hunting because I think it's a solid stance in the main way you access mix-ups with the character. But before that, I just want to mention that you can use this mix-up as part of your combo enders. I think there are basically two schools of thought on Kuma combos. You can do this standard thing that you see a lot of people use recently, which is a standing 4 into the back forward 2, which is this move. Another great move for the character, by the way. This is a safe normal hit launcher that you can, you see a small mistake from the opponent, you throw this out. If it connects, you get a full combo. If it doesn't, then it's safe on block. Its only weakness is the fact that it's high, but I think that's honestly not a big weakness. This thing obviously is launch punishable, so this is much lower risk. But that's a spin move. The only difficult thing with the combos is that the recovery on some of these spin moves, it's kind of clunky. It's difficult to know when you're supposed to start dashing for your follow-ups, but it's something I think you're going to get used to when you play the character a little bit. And then after you spin with that, you run up and do this, which is back 2-1, 3+4 to access hunting, down 1+2, and then down 4-2. For the ender. That's going to give you 67, which is very solid for just a standard launcher. But the other option that you have, the other combo, is you delay your spin kind of like this. Drop the combo right there. Let's try it again. Like that, and you use this running 1+2 for your combo ender. The reason that is so good, you get slightly lower damage and no carry really, but this move is fantastic because if you press 3+4, it transitions into hunting. So you can use that for the combo ender, go straight into hunting, start walking forwards, and then apply your hunting mix-up. This move is also extremely good for closing the gap, and is how you access mix-ups on the fly, because it's plus on block, and it gives you good plus frames on block as well. So it's very, very dangerous. The only real downside to the move is that the opponent can move around it, but that's difficult to do because it has a big chunky hitbox because of your big body, and it has kind of an extended hitbox. So very, very good. And then when you're in hunting, you know, you go in with this, you make the opponent block it. The mix-up you can do is you have the 1-2 for quick low, you have the 2 as well. If you want to go balls to the wall and do something big, you can do back 1+2, which is the breakdown slow for big, big damage. I think you can use that for guaranteed setups into Rage Drive, by the way, which is crazy powerful. And the main mid, I think, is supposed to be down 1+2. This is such a good move from hunting because it's a massive counter hit launcher. And so that's the reason the opponent really has to respect hunting and is going to be scared to swing into it, you know. So I think it does work for a mix-up stance. It is very solid. And it's not difficult to apply. I mean, the one thing that I think is clunky when you start playing this character is I think the main difference I see, the biggest tip I can give you as a non-Kuma player, but just watching people who are good with this character and people who seem to struggle when I play against them online, is that they don't cancel hunting and just stand back up. So when you're playing these mix-ups and you do something and it doesn't connect, the thing you wanted to happen didn't happen, if you just stand back up and go back to neutral, you should be fine. But if you try and stay here and keep doing things even though you're getting blocked, then you're in danger, you know? It's like you get a hit, okay, I'm going to mix again. But if you don't, remember to cancel the stance. And remembering to cancel the stance, if you can do that, then everything else is kind of easy to understand and not really that difficult. The mix-ups are solid. The punishment is amazing. The damage is high. You have fun stuff at the wall. This is the wall combo, by the way. I chose a non-wall stage because I think his wall game is kind of uninteresting. And I wanted some space. I thought this stage sort of, you know, fit the polar bear theme or whatever. I know it's stupid. You have the annoying Heihachi 442 and the final move I'm going to mention, the fastest full counter hit launcher in the game, which is forward 111. This is a 10 frame full combo for a launcher, which is so extremely powerful. One thing to note about this move that is going to be annoying when you start using it is that you can for some reason not buffer movement with this. So if you hold forward and start pressing 1, he's not going to do the string. You have to press forward and 1 together for the first hit for this move to work. I don't know why they made it that way. It's kind of unique and weird, but as a panic move when you're being rushed down, if you throw this out and you get it, it's just massively powerful. Be careful though, because it is launch punishable. But yeah, a weird character, but a fun character. I know people don't like the fact that there's a bear in the roster, but I honestly never minded it because, you know, there are a few characters on the literal edges of the roster in Tekken who are like fun characters, comedy characters, but if they're going to be in the game, it does make sense to me to make them solid and enjoyable for the people who do choose to play them. And because it's such an underused character, I think you have an opportunity here to express yourself as a player and become one of the few really strong bear players, especially if you like the idea of focusing more on moving backwards and forwards and mixing up and not moving sideways. So yeah, cool character, unique and interesting concept. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys again very soon.